So, Scott Pilgrim versus the World was a movie that had a pretty big budget for the time. It was between $60 and $85 million if you consider all of the money that went into the marketing campaign for the movie. But the movie itself didn't even break even. It made around a little under $50 million in the box office, something that Universal obviously didn't see coming, considering they were really putting a lot of money and marketing and attention behind this film. With that said, despite no one really going to see it, it did get good reviews. There you go. From both critics and audiences alike. If you check on Rotten Tomatoes, both of the critics and the audience scores are over 80%. So most people really enjoyed it. They really thought it was new and innovative. They thought it was funny. The consensus, though, from critics is that basically the script may not be dazzling as its eye-popping visuals, but Scott Pilgrim versus the World is fast, funny, and innovative. And a lot of those things are true. But some of them definitely aren't. So again, Universal was putting a lot of money behind this movie, and so there was a lot of hype around it. I think many of the people that were involved thought it was going to be some new, innovative way to combine elements of graphic novel storytelling, video games, comic book stylings, indie romance, and bringing all of those, a musical to some degree, like a Battle of the Bands musical type thing, and bringing that all together and turning it into this thing that is altogether singular. And I guess in some ways it achieved that, but it proved to show that because it was kind of pulling from so many directions, it didn't really have a direction for a lot of audiences, so it was a really hard sell to get people to go see it. And it's not for a lack of trying. Universal really did try to get a lot of like comic book fans involved. They did a big push at Comic-Con, for instance, in 2010. They got these entirely ridiculously large advertisements to be put on the side of hotels. There was a whole like Scott Pilgrim fair type thing that happened where they were giving away merchandise and copious free gifts and garlic bread, apparently. And it really felt like, at least within the comic book community at this particular comic book fair, I mean, Comic-Con is a big place, but it felt like, at least there, that, you know, Scott Pilgrim was going to be revolutionary, that it was going to change how we view the medium of film and how that, like, interacts with graphic novels, that it doesn't just have to be, for instance, like superhero movies, and that it could be fantastical but could still have an anchor in something very domestic. Is that the word I want to use? Like a rom-com, you know? But for all that virtue and all that aspiration that the film had, it really didn't get much attention from audiences, or not nearly as much as one would have hoped, I guess, from that much of an investment. Being that the movie was kind of this weird cornucopia of events and themes and aspirations and inspirations and yada yada, that all of those aspects were just a really hard sell, and that's presumably why the movie didn't do so great, because like, who are you aiming for to watch this movie? Just vaguely people that like stuff. Like, bring them all together. And then beyond that, the movie did come out to go against other movies like The Expendables and Eat, Pray, Love, who were already attracting a few of those audiences that they were trying to wide brush attract at the same time. So that may be also what kind of led to the movie underperforming. There were movies for the action stuff and there were movies for the rom-com stuff. We don't need to watch Scott Pilgrim, if that makes sense. That's kind of weirdly bringing all of those things together, or in a way that's really not understandable, perhaps, to mass audiences.